what type of skills people that come from different backgrounds should learn to be part of the supply chain?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's a great question, because a long time ago, originally, when American industry was highly vertically integrated and they did everything themselves, supply chain was very clerical, it was very tactical, because companies did everything themselves. And then companies started to outsource more and more of their needs for commodities. And eventually they started outsourcing everything, even critical core stuff. So I think what happened originally was people that worked in supply chain management in American industry, a lot of them didn't even have a college education. And if they did have a college education, you couldn't even major in supply chain management, because 20, 30, 40 years ago, that didn't even exist. So what happened over a period of time is companies said, we need very specific skill sets in supply chain management. So universities like ours created a degree or concentration in curriculum in supply chain management. So in America, a lot of the people in supply chain management now, they tend to have a supply chain background, a supply chain education. They took university study in supply chain management and took supply chain classes. But in America still, there are so many opportunities in supply chain management. A lot of people ask me, like the question that you asked is, if I don't have a supply chain background, I don't have an education, I don't have work experience, what kind of skills do I need to get into supply chain management, right? In America right now, I guess it's a good problem to have, but we have a number of supply chain jobs at all levels across industries that are vacant. They can't fill them because they can't find the people to do them. Labor shortage. America right now has 11 million vacant jobs that they just can't find people to do them for whatever reason. Sometimes they're just not qualified, but in general, there's a labor shortage in America. So what a lot of people are asking, these 11 million jobs that are vacant, if you really look at a lot of them, they're supply chain related. Not all of them require college degrees. Not all of them require an education and a background in supply chain. So for example, at our warehouses and distribution centers, there are a lot of supply chain jobs, many of which don't actually require college degrees. However, they require that you have good written and oral communication skills. So a lot of those soft skills are very important in those jobs. If you work in a warehouse, you might have to walk 7 miles a day. It's very hard physical work because some of these distribution centers in America are huge facilities. So again, back to your original question, if you ask me, what are the skills that I could work on and develop so that I could get my foot in the door for an opportunity to work in supply chain management? I think it's a lot of the soft skills, the ability to work well with others, time management, organization skills. An American expression that says, do you play well and then do you play nicely in the sandbox? Do you get along with others? Or are you someone that's difficult to be around? At the end of the day, if you ask me, what's the most important skill set, like an actual hard skill, if you will, I would say it's problem solving. Are you good at seeing everything as a problem to be solved? Do you think creatively? Do you look at things in the workplace and say, wait a second, how could I do that better, faster, and cheaper? So if you're someone that thinks creatively, that thinks about everything in the context of everything's a problem to be solved. What's the problem? How do I do it better, faster, and cheaper? Imagine if you're an employer and you interview someone for a job, and that person convinces the manager, I will solve problems all day, every day for you. I will look at everything as a process and processes within processes, and I will constantly try to think about how can I do that better, faster, and cheaper for you as my employer. Most managers would say, that's the kind of person I want to hire. The person I want to hire is someone that gets along with others, that has strong soft skills, good written and oral communication skills. But at the end of the day, do they solve problems? Do they help our business do things better, faster, and cheaper? So when you talk about problem solving, okay, what's problem solving? We actually have problem solving training in courses, and we teach them about things like A3, Lean, Six Sigma, DMAIC, Yellow Belt certification. So a lot of the skills associated with problem solving are soft skills. Are you creative? Do you look at everything as a opportunity to do it better, faster, and cheaper? But at the end of the day, what I would encourage people that want to get into supply chain management, you don't necessarily always need a degree. Sometimes you don't need a graduate degree. Sometimes you don't need an education in supply chain management. But one of the things that you could get formal training on, this is something I would recommend for your association, is anything related to problem solving. If you could take the workforce in Ecuador, for example, and basically teach everyone in Ecuador to be an exceptional problem solver and teach them some of these continuous improvement lean tools like A3 and 𝐷𝐼𝐴, you would see the productivity of your workforce skyrocket, because at the end of the day, what is problem solving? Figuring out how to do things better, faster, and cheaper. So I think in America, that's something we've embraced. I don't want to say a long time ago, but maybe recently, where employers are telling us, for these students that are 19, 20 years old, train them on these tools to be problem solvers. I think originally we thought problem solving, well, it's something you're born with. You're a natural at it. You're either a problem solver or you're not. What we've learned is you can take someone that has zero problem solving skills, none whatsoever, and train them over a period of time where they become exceptional problem solvers. So I would say that's the #1 skill set out there. And we have data that actually shows that. Used to be leadership. Everyone wanted leadership traits and qualities. That's dropped, and problem solving has surfaced to the top. At the end of the day, though, the part that does require training and education, data science, data analytics, the ability to take large amounts of data and make sense out of it, tell a story, help managers visualize the data so they can make better decisions. So a lot of our supply chain students, they get a secondary minor education in data science or business data analytics. That's the one where you probably have to go to school for. So, think of Excel spreadsheets and learning them in such advanced ways where you can do predictive analytics, and then you learn tools like Tableau and Power BI, where you go to a manager and say, look, I looked at all of our data, thousands of lines worth of data, and I created these visuals, these charts, where you as a manager can look at that and understand what decision we need to make. So a part of problem solving is making sense out of very large amounts of data. That's the part that I think is a hard skill that typically does require like a college education, if you will. Chances are, if you only have a high school diploma, it's going to be hard for you to be a data scientist in supply chain management, but you could be a problem solver. And there are a lot of jobs in America in supply chain management that do not require a college education, but they always want people that are good at solving problems.